Folks, it's been a little bit of a crazy week, don't you think? Before we get started though, obviously we have to thank one of the biggest sponsors of the channel, Blackout Coffee. This is actually hilarious, but our coffee is so good that one of you guys ordered some and a bear stole it off your porch. I mean, that should say enough in itself. My God. Obviously, that customer's being taken care of, but some great American coffee, American values, and as always, we're putting a discount code below the video. So, there is something really interesting happening, and I'm not really sure what to think of it yet. I'm still kind of processing it, but the US military has been authorized to essentially use force against Americans on US soil. And why all of a sudden has this come up? It's kind of odd, right? Oh, would it be the election? Oh, are they trying to, I don't know, cheat? I mean, if you listen to Kamala Harris's interview with Bret Baier, the woman can't answer a single question directly. Like, hey, what is your name? Well, you know what? I grew up in a small town and my mother was Indian and we are doing a lot for this country. No.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have an
it's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath.
Just answer the fucking question. For everyone who's considering voting for Kamala, that should be a pretty big telltale sign that she has no idea what she's doing. Or she's simply lying through her teeth. So, where are we going with this? There is a new directive from the DOD. And it is right before an election. In fact, less than a month away. Now, I'm going to read some of this because it is astonishing what this says. As the U.S. prepares for one of the most controversial and closely watched elections in its history, a concerning update to DoD Directive 5240.01 has quietly been put into effect. Reissued on September 27, 2024, this directive governs the Department of Defense's intelligence activities and now includes provisions authorizing lethal force in certain circumstances when assisting civilian law enforcement. While the directive forbids assassination, it opens the door to lethal interventions under national security conditions. So what does this mean? What's happening here is if for some reason Trump loses, which he's not going to lose, but if for some reason he does or something happens, he doesn't end up in there. They're thinking that there's going to be another type of January 6th happening, except they're going to handle it very differently. Essentially what they're telling people within this is that if you try to protest again, if you try to do another big protest at the Capitol, we're going to kill you. We're going to use the military to kill you. Don't believe me? Let's read on. In the 2016 version, the directive primarily focused on intelligence collection and ensuring civil liberties protections for U.S. persons. It emphasized strict oversight and need for authorization before collecting U.S. person information. However, the 2024 version expands the military's role, particularly in assisting law enforcement, and authorizes lethal force under specific conditions. So a lot of you may be asking, well, Dan, what are their rules for engagement? No one knows. It doesn't say. This is what it says as far as if they can engage you and when they can call in the military for a civil issue. The Secretary of Defense may approve any type of requested permissible assistance described in paragraph 3.2. The decision to approve requests for these types of permissible assistance described in paragraph 3.2 to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities are reserved to the Secretary of Defense. And here we go. Provision of personnel to support response efforts for civil disturbances, which may require presidential authorization. So what they mean is a disturbance. What is a disturbance? Is that people protesting? Is that people upset about an election? Is that, I don't know, people gathered around the Capitol? Is that what you mean? And lastly, assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethality or any situation in which it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. So I think the question has to be asked, is the military going to follow these orders? I think it ultimately depends. If we get some woke person in the military that's a dude that's wearing makeup and a bunch of other stuff, they're probably going to be stoked about it. But what about all the other people? Are you going to sit there and say, okay, well, maybe my dad's out in the crowd, maybe my mom, my sister, my brother, but I've got orders to essentially kill people if there is a civil unrest? Where was this during the BLM riots? Where was it? Where was the writing where it says, you protest peacefully or we'll shoot you? Where was it? But no, January 6th was so bad. Dude, it was nothing compared to the BLM riots. Nothing. Not even close in any form of the word. But no, because there's an election coming up and because, I don't know, they're all scared of us. I think it's important that everybody knows this because who knows what's going to happen with this election. I truly believe in my heart that Trump's going to win, but there's a lot of stuff that happens behind closed doors that we have no control over. So keep your head on a swivel.